Hello again. As promised, I said I would do a talk on depression and helping people with depression. And I really hope this video helps you or anybody watching. Please spread it. Please, pass on the message. I feel for anybody who's caught up in depression and having a hard time with it. And I really hope that you can do what you need to do to get help, regardless of what that looks like. Whatever it looks like, please get the help you need and the support you need. I and myself have had moments of what I'd call a depression, even since I've learned to meditate. And I know, we all have different ways of handling it. And we have different lengths of time in depression or depressive episodes. So I by no means feel like I'm an expert. I just want to help and offer a hand with what I have experienced and what I've seen other people experience, and with my belief in meditation. Okay, so please treat this video as that. I'm not a doctor. I don't know exactly what you're going through. This is just simply some words of help coming from my heart. Okay, so that's my disclaimer. But no, I do not know what everybody goes through. I just know what I've heard, what I've seen, and what I've experienced for myself. What I believe depression to be, it could be a lot of different things. Some of it could be needs chemical balances in the body. So you probably need to go to a doctor to get professional advice about that. I do know for myself the times that I've moved in and out of what I believe was a depressive state. It was because things around me weren't looking good. And the way I interpreted everything was extremely fearful. I thought I was unsafe and that the world was unsafe. And for me, it came on very quickly. Like I almost got a panic attack, basically had anxiety for that moment, and then moved into a place where everything got kind of dark. And coming out of that darkness is what I think is the key for people with depression. Is either how do you cope with the darkness, if that's what's going on for you, or how do you have tools that can either lighten it or help you move out of it? And then, or how do you cope and turn that perspective around so that it's actually manageable, okay? So for me, that darkness was brought on by many different things. I've had it a few times in my life, what I believe was a depressive state. And they all were situations that were out of my control. So I felt like I had no control. These situations were happening or happened, and my coping mechanism didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to cope with what was going on. So I kind of felt like I was swimming in this world that I couldn't grasp onto something that was safe or was giving me answers or security. And I wasn't the person to ask for help. There might have been a couple of people super close to me, which I could do, but it was very much an internalized journey. Now, before I learned to meditate, so I teach and learn and practice a meditation practice called the Bright Path. There's a link down in the comments below somewhere if you're interested at all with the techniques that I do. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, with meditation techniques or any generalized meditation that I think most people's meditation practices could be moving you towards. Or if you don't have a meditation practice, that's what this video is about, is just how to help. Because I do have a meditation practice and I've been doing it for over 20 years, you'd think I'll be pretty good at it, right? But life still throws you curveballs. And the shock of some of those curveballs is where I moved into what I experienced as either anxiety or depression. Anxiety is when you get very fast and don't know how to cope. You feel overwhelmed. I think for me, that's what it felt like. And depression is when everything goes black and there's just this almost like this void of energy, of hope, of, I don't know. For me, it was kind of like the world just suddenly changed so much upside down and wasn't a nice place or a good place anymore. And then it's like how to cope with that or move out of that. So that's how I see the difference between the two. Maybe you could write the comments below of how you see it or how you experience it too, like just your word choices. I've done so many different techniques over the years, my own meditation practice, but then other little techniques to kind of play with moving the attention and moving our own attention of how we see life. That things like even just writing down, that's why I suggested that even things like just writing down what you're feeling helps to move you, or it starts to show you where you're at. And then if you can move again in a new direction of even like gratitude, how to write down 5 things that you're grateful for right now. Maybe you could put that in the chat. This is how you're feeling right now. And it could be, or how you've been feeling, what you describe depression as. And then you could even just write a second comment just saying, well, what actually are you grateful for? That as a daily practice is such a great technique or tool, because it shows us what we have and what we can move into. We have fingers, we have eyes, we have a home, we have whatever. But what we're moving into is a state of gratitude. We're showing, we've been living in this depressive state where everything feels pretty dark and yucky and blah, maybe, or fearful, like depends on how it's affecting you. And then the writing down the 5 things we're grateful for starts to move us gently into an awareness that there's good. It's good that I've got fingers because I can actually operate a computer, or I can tie my shoelaces, or I can pick up my coffee cup. You can't see it, there it is. Oh, you know what it says? It says all is well. A gratitude journaling of gratitude every morning lets us see the good. I'm grateful because I have the eyes to see color. I love color. Why do I love color? Color shows me magic in my world. I'm looking right now out the window and there's a bird of paradise flower, those plants, you know, with the bright orange. And that color gives me warmth in my heart that I can see it. If that was black and white, I would miss that. I've got a picture of a sunset behind me. Which way am I going to go? I've got to go this way to show you my sunset. And like the sunsets every day is like the world's gift to me. Yeah, the sun's going down, but look at the color that flashes across the sky for 10 minutes. 10 minutes every day, we have this gift of God's painting in the sky. Thank goodness for color, or else it would be nothing, right? It would just be the light changing to dark. So gratitude changes our energetics and our approach to how we're seeing things. So to write tips on gratitude every day and make them longer and longer, you know, and kind of get a bit descriptive with them is a beautiful tool for us to start changing our emotional state and to take us out of the world's a bad place to the world's a good place. Or the world's a bad place, but here in my universe right now, in my world, which is right here where my eyes can reach, is okay. And that's something really important with everything that I experienced those times when I felt like the world was in a real bad place and my world was a real dark place, was the things that were happening if weren't in this room. A lot of it was in my mind, and a lot of it was what had happened. But right here in this room, it wasn't happening. And I was secure, I was safe, I was okay. Does that mean I live in my room for the rest of my life? No, but it means if I start to see that this room's okay, then I can open the door and go outside and see that my environment right with me is okay. Now, one of the times it was pretty harsh for me. So I think it could be either a trigger for a lot of people is when relationships end and change. And sometimes they can do so very dramatically. And I'm talking about our romantic relationships, or it could be family relationships. I'm talking about death of a loved one. I'm talking when somebody moves overseas and you don't see them for a long time, or when there's a nasty situation in your relationships, and there seems to be attacking going on. So all of these things can happen and do happen and feel really nasty. And then how do we cope? How do we get out of our state? Again, the gratitude, writing off the gratitude sees where we are and what we have in this moment. So even if it's the death of a loved one, and that you move through your own journey of that, let yourself move through that journey, but it's okay to start feeling good again. It's okay to start smiling and seeing the world as a good place. Honoring their memory or honoring who they are doesn't mean that you have to give up your life. You know, you can get on with your life and still love them. And for me, that transition of love moves into this different, beautiful, greater love of seeing that person or experiencing that person in more ways rather than the physical form. And yeah, you might never hear the voice ever again, but the essence is infused in many places if you look for it. And that doesn't need to create sadness or depression in us. It could actually create a sense of warmth and comfort to know that that essence, that eternalness of all of us is where we actually truly connect, and it becomes constant and immortal, which is a little bit big for a lot of people to understand, but it gives us hope that as humans where our lives begin and end, that God isn't punishing us or hurting us, that there is actually a divine dance bigger than us, that the mystery of life, you know, the mystery of death, the mystery of understanding the dynamics of humanity and how to live in this world can actually be with wonderment and joy, not with fear. And I really want everybody to live their lives and enjoy their lives, not live in a state of fear with their lives. So I mentioned relationships. When relationships can become quite brutal, or, you know, with the differences of opinions or the way people treat each other, that also can put you into a different state, emotional state for yourself, because you don't understand, or you don't know why it happened, or why did you do it, or it's just what happened to cope with a situation, and then it all blew up and got nasty, whatever. But the after effects can be quite traumatic for yourself, trying to work it all out and move on. Depression can happen that way. And again, it's realizing that, find that spark within yourself, that to love yourself and let yourself make mistakes. Let it be okay. Let the past be the past and move on. Let yourself know that those relationships were for that time of your life, and that's okay. Let yourself learn from it. Was there something that you need to adjust in yourself? Or was it because of other people's impressions and filters and ideas? They saw you that way. So it's not personal, it's their filters. We have so many different ways of interpreting life and ways of interpreting our interactions with other people that it can be so confusing. The confusion can put us straight on the couch and into depression. And the way out is to keep bringing it back to your heart and realizing step by step by step that you're a good person, that we all do stuff. It all gets interpreted different ways. Gosh, you can say jokes and it gets interpreted as being mean. And if there's things that are moving over internet, emails, text messages, there's no emotional content in it. So people take it the way they want to take it. So I guess you have to give yourself permission to make mistakes, or even allow other people to interpret it the way they're going to interpret it. And you cannot spend your life trying to say sorry or trying to forgive someone else. You can't. Humanity, all of us have such interesting dynamics, but we know each other at the core. And at the core is where you start to make your adjustments and create even limits or boundaries of how much you can give to another person or take from another person, right? And in that way, you find the love inside yourself, which has to be there first. So moving out of a depressive kind of state there is really, really just letting us all be okay. You know, what other friends or family members or workplace environments, the situations you've gone through that have upset you or hurt you, you've got to be able to come to a place to just go, okay, it happened. It all went a bit south. I don't like it. I didn't like it. But how do I go forward? Okay, that situation's gone or done or happening. I don't know. But me, I need to love myself. And that's where a meditation practice is really beautiful, because the focus is on seeing those thoughts in your mind that's telling you things aren't good, or people aren't good, or you aren't good. And then moving your attention gently to realizing that, hey, you are good. There is a lot of good. There are people that want to hear from you. You are special in your own unique way, and we want to love you. I've spent a lot of time in retreat environments, and that's one of the things I've seen the most, because probably we all have, over the years, moved out of our family environment, grown up, gone flatting if that's the culture that you grew up on, or you move out and you go and live by yourself, or you buy your house, or you have your partner, and then maybe that breaks up, so you're on your own. A lot of humanity lives on their own or lives with one other person, and that's the person that's so powerful to us, because we're listening to them all the time. And if they're in a shitty mood and they're telling you that you're ugly or you're bad or you're no good, and you're listening to that day after day, year after year, whatever, I mean, really? That's what you listen to? I know. We have to be able to, oh, sorry, that's what I was saying. People come to a retreat environment and they're so in awe that all these people want to just love them, want to know who they are, or don't even care about your backstory, your past story, but just want to love you now and have fun with you now. Almost like school, kindergarten school, not teenage school when we started having groups and being mean to each other and bullying, but kindergarten school when people were just like wanting to play. We need that love. We need that world that reflects to us that love. And if we don't put ourselves in that situation, or if we're not able to put ourselves in that situation, we need to put ourselves in that situation and be inspired by, I don't know, YouTube videos telling us that we're okay. Because you are okay. You just need your universe to tell you and remind you. And sometimes you've got to adjust your friends. We'll put boundaries with your family if they're not helping you know that you're okay. And sometimes the teasing is just teasing, but we take it so personally. And sometimes people do hurt each other, and they hurt someone else, or we hurt someone else because we thought we were doing the right thing. And sometimes we get hurt because someone else is thinking they're doing the right thing, and either they know they're hurting us, or it's how they can cope. They're putting up their boundaries to cope. So to move on is to let it be okay. It's part of what everyone's just doing to cope. So those boundaries goes both ways. And if it's like, what? They need to put up boundaries to cope with me? What have I done? You don't know. You don't know what's going on in someone else's head. But it's okay. So you've got to come to a place, coming back again, that it's okay. How do you do that? Go back to that gratitude. Go back to writing down the things that is good in your world right now, in your world, your universe right now, in your room. And then if you can go outside of your room, what's good in your area? And if you can go outside your area, what's good in your world? And let that just keep growing for you. And then, like I said, depression can be chemically imbalanced too. Like it's just something that's happening in your system. And so your body needs help. And a lot of people will look at different diets first. You know, food is medicine. Food is the fuel that we're giving ourselves. If we're giving ourselves a lot of, I'm just going to say sugar. I don't know if that's going to be true for you or not, but it is sugars do tend to treat our body strange, or our body's got to cope with the sugars in a different way. And the way then the body copes can create the emotions. And then that emotional content can create the way we feel. So if you're eating more purely, or there's so many different diets with different focal points, like the keto diet has one focal point, the paleo diet has another focal point. You might be going more clean and green, that has a different focal point. So if you do it more playfully and with a curiosity, hey, I'm going to do this for a month and how am I going to feel? I'm going to do this for another month and what is it going to give to me? Oh, I really do realize I just crave this type of food. So that type of diet doesn't work for me. So can I give myself permission to actually play with things? And it's not me breaking a diet and being bad, or I can't do it, I'm not good enough. Like, don't go there. Do it more playfully and like an exploration of how it works for you. And then you're doing it for health, but you're doing it for your emotional state too. Alcohol is another one. If you find that alcohol keeps pushing you down into like the hangover or the depression following drinking, well, then find your way out of that. Find the balance. Give yourself a break. Give yourself one glass, whatever it works, but start to become very explorative of your choices and what they're giving you, right? If you find that you need that comfort from food, but then that comfort makes you feel sick afterwards, because you ate too much cake or overate the pizza, or I don't know, too much steak, too much vegetables. Even too much vegetables can make you feel sick, right? People start to react. Play with it, but do see that food is your medicine as well, or food can be a tool to help you with depression. Clean air, what you look at. Look at what's behind me, green and nature. How does it make you feel? So get out of the house and just sit in a park. Put your feet on the dirt and on the grass. Take your shoes off and just walk on the grass. Connect. Again, how does it make you feel? If it makes you feel dirty, put your shoes back on. But for me, I grew up in New Zealand. That's my accent, I think, still. And so for me to go for walks in the woods, or to walk on the beach, New Zealand's got lots of beaches and very native, very natural beaches that are untouched. It calls back to my soul. It calls back to my heart. For me to watch the sunset, it's always given me that connection to God, the greater force, something bigger than me that's actually healing and holding this planet and me and you. And I've always loved that connection. And that was what drove me into meditation, the search for God. Meditation for me is at its basics, having a way to see the mind. And in depression, I didn't see my mind as super active and bombarding me. There was fear, though, that the world was dark and empty and void. And so to then with meditation, move your attention to what's good, or even through the technique of just simply writing gratitude notes, you're taking back your ownership of choice. You're not like just kind of like, oh, helpless and there's nothing you can do. Just that simple movement of seeing what is good, you're taking back the action of choice, and then seeing that you actually have perhaps an element of control and then an element of choice, what choices you can make to make yourself better or feel better or live in a better state of being and in a better world. Again, the choices of food, the choices of alcohol, the choices of where your attention is, the choices of writing a gratitude journal today. All those choices as the empowerment of you. Huge, huge key for depression when you feel like there's no way out. The truth is, we are living in the state of mind, or the state that we are actually creating. I'm sorry to say that. You might feel like you have no choice and that you're just kind of not there and choiceless, controlless, helpless. And I will say to you, no, you do have a choice. You've just got to find it and start gently making it. and reach out for people that can support you in that. The reminders that you have a choice. Play this video a million times. Keep writing your gratitude little journal, your little diary. It all works because it creates the new focal point and the new momentum going forward in your life. You can do it. Like I said, I don't think I've lived in a state of depression, but I've definitely entered in and out of places, very dark place. A few times in my life when situations really rocked me. And I know more other people that probably have different advice or have had experience for much longer periods of time. But the thing that always worked for me was finding that little flame inside my heart and just saying, I can do this. And then from that place, you can. There's a lot of people in the world that cheer you on and want to cheer you on. You've just got to listen to them and find them. And that sunshine that's in your heart can keep growing. The other thing I think I want to just say quickly, and I don't know if this applies, but we're in a world now where there's so much information coming to us all the time. And most of that information is not uplifting. It's telling us how bad the world is and telling us how much conflict the world's in and telling us all these nasty things. And so the world seems like a very scary place. But what is your world? And we've got to fight for the world and we've got to protect the world and humanity's got to stand up. Yeah, we've been saying that since I was born. I've been hearing that. World War III was always coming. And I'm not denouncing anything, but I'm saying that if I had constantly listened to that for 50 years, I probably would be a very screwed up person and very hateful, fearful, angry, or depressed, obviously, because that's what I would have focused on. What you focus on grows, guys. So yeah, it's cool to be up to date with news, but it's also so healing to turn it all off. You've got to stop listening to it. Put your focus on what brings you joy, and then what you focus on grows the joy. Read a book, a happy book, watch a stupid movie that just makes you laugh. Why? Because laughter, listen to your own laughter. Get a buddy to watch a movie with you, a stupid movie, a funny movie, a comedy, and just laugh together. It's so healing. It's so important to find your joy. I'm your cheerleader. Whatever I can do for you, I can help you in any way possible. So put some comments below. Ask for help if you need it. I will answer you personally if you leave any information for me. And my dedication is to just reach out and give you a little cosmic hug, tell you you can. Okay? Now.